Now, Kurt, when I said I was going to do this panel, I asked my readers if there were things they wanted to know about the show. The number one question by far is, when are we going to find out about the homeless girl who keeps running into Jax and Gemma and what her story is? What can you tell us about her?
I'll tell you the same thing I tell the network every time, is that she is who she is and she says what she says. That's all I got.
That's delightful. Okay, are the Sons going to go to Ireland this season in search of Abel?
Yeah, we're playing 4 episodes that take place in Belfast, and I sort of put that information out a while back. And I don't want to give out too many details in terms of why we're there and what's going to happen while we're there, but I always knew that the IRA was an important component in the history of the Sons. That was how they got into gun running, and ultimately had the sense that I wanted to go there probably in season 3. So it's been a blast for me to sort of have talked about. I remember talking to John Landgraf about this before I think right after we shot the pilot, and so it was fun for me to sort of have that sort of come alive this season and actually go there. We sent a second unit there for about 2 weeks to shoot a lot of the fight sequence and a lot of the establishment shots and things like that. So,
well, I mean, speaking of the club's history, is there a point at which we might either learn more about it or even maybe get to see it in the flashback, young John, young Clay?
I'm not on this show. I mean, flashbacks obviously work on other shows, but I'd never do a flashback on this show just because I feel like it would pull us out of the show. But we do, through character and through a story arc this season, we do learn a lot more about John Pellet and the history of it.
And one of my readers wondered, Big Otto has suffered quite a bit. He's lost now a second eye, lost his wife, all of that. And they wondered if that was in any way you doing some sort of psychic penance for what had been done to Gemma on screen.
Oh, wow. No, I just like spending time in the makeup chair. It's really true. To me, it's important for me, to have a character that's in prison. It's so much a part of the life, and for me, it was more about the kind of the horrible thing that he did to Saul. Was and one of the things I try to do on the show so that the violence doesn't feel as gratuitous or isn't as gratuitous is that the idea that it doesn't happen in a vacuum. Like when you do bad shit to people, consequences are bad.
Charlie Ron, I'm wondering sort of how having learned to ride bikes helps you connect with the characters, and as you've gotten better over time, has that maybe made you understand Jackson Clay a little bit more?
Yeah, it was funny though. I was just talking to somebody. They asked me how I kind of got into character every day. This guy, on this show we shoot so many hours a day, and just constantly, and the weekends prepare it. I work out one day. I usually average somewhere between 85 and 100 hours a week. I work. So it's much more a question of trying to remember who I am than trying to figure out who Jackson is day to day, because I just live with him far more than I live with myself. And riding a bike is definitely a part of that. I mean, I got a bike last spring? No, we were still shooting, right? It must have been towards the end of the year. Like September? Yeah, somewhere in September, something like that. And since then I put 6,500 miles on my bike and less than 100 miles on my car. So it's really become pretty much my exclusive mode of transportation. And getting on the bike every morning, I have a nice fast ride to work every day. And by the time I get there, I am jacked.
I still like my Mercedes. It's got 4 doors. I can go in any one of them I want. I can go out any one I want. I love my Bose speakers. I like that I can text and light my cigar all at the same time.
People want to line up and while they're doing that. I just wondering, Kurt, one of the other big shocking things that happened at the end of the season is that Half-Shack, the prospect, is murdered. Will the club be getting a new prospect?
Yeah, we bring on actually 3 prospects this season. Halfway through the season, we bring them on.
Yeah. So we're going to see a little bit more about how somebody...
Yeah, I think ultimately, I think what ended up happening with Johnny is that it was difficult for me to bring him in the loop in terms of stories because as a prospect he was outside, and rather than bringing on a main character that's another prospect, I hired these 3 great actors and it's a much smaller. They're used more sparingly, but I do think you get a sense of more having the 3 of them. You get a sense of what it's like to be a prospect, and it's not a fun journey.